Hi everyone, welcome to another exciting edition of Words, Images, and Worlds. On this episode, which I believe might be brought to you by Perrier, I think that's what you're sipping at the moment. We have the wonderful, the talented, the prolific Dirk Manning. Dirk, thank you for jumping in and joining.
Thank you. And in full disclosure, I'm a Detroit area fancy. Movie.
Oh,
So
very nice, very nice. There it is.
nothing, nothing, nothing is shishi frou frou is that, I'm afraid.
Oh,
Just
oh,
the
gotcha.
common the common Midwesterner beverage of choice.
Love it, love it. Well, we have a lovely water here this evening. That's what we're currently enjoying, but so it goes, so it goes. So there goes that sponsorship I had in mind, but nevertheless,
I
uh,
apologize.
no worries.
Maybe Verners will sponsor you, right? Who knows?
Maybe, maybe. Well, on this episode, the true reason we're here is to talk about a book that I see peeking over your shoulder there, London After Midnight.
Yes.
So looking lovely right there. As lovely as a face like that can look.
That's fair. Yeah. It's funny because, even you kind of alluded this a little bit. The name, not everyone knows the name London After Midnight.
Hmm.
Everyone knows this image, right?
Yes.
It's one of the most, Lon Chaney, one of the most iconic images in horror. And as I've finally been forthcoming now, 20 plus years into my career, uh, very,
Yes.
very,
Uh-huh.
it's been a long time homage to me that the Dirk Manning publicity photo has been an homage to Lon Chaney in London After Midnight, and now I get to actually work on the official graphic novel adaptation of London After Midnight.
Very,
Uh,
very cool.
so what a world, right? What a world.
Yeah, yeah. Now, have you been in touch with the Cheney family? Are you dining at the table of household Cheney at this point?
I talk to Ron Chaney of Chaney Entertainment often. I
Hmm.
have not yet been to Chaney headquarters. If I go, I'm going to have to take two pieces of luggage, one for my clothes and another one of just all the stuff I will probably want to like buy from his like private vault and bring back, being a
Yeah.
life horror fan. But no, the project, which I would be remiss if I didn't mention, is on Kickstarter right now at
Hmm.
LondonAfterMidnightComic.com.
Hmm.
Um, this project to bring back London After Midnight is being done directly in conjunction with Ron Chaney of Chaney Entertainment. Um, really protecting and shepherding the family legacy and maintaining it is something that's very important to Ron. It's very important to Chaney Entertainment. And this is a situation where um, we are taking a lost film that no one has seen in many, many decades. It was originally released in 1927. It was destroyed in a fire in the 1960s, has been seen for years before that, to my knowledge, and now shepherding that back as a graphic novel with Ron Chaney evaluating, reviewing, and approving everything throughout the whole process, every step of the way. He's approved the art. Well, he approved the adaptation from the screenplay to the comic book to the graphic novel that I
Hmm.
wrote. He then approves the line art. He then approves, the coloring, the lettering. Um, Nothing about him without him. So that this is truly an official graphic novel adaptation signed off on and done in conjunction with the Chaney estate.
Love it, love it. There's a lot that I appreciate there, and I know that I've had folks that have sort of worked in the Cheneyverse on before, so I know that they are very much helpful in that way and connected with creators. So I asked that question suspecting that you might have dined at Table Cheney before.
I think when we're done, hopefully, it'd be
Metaphorically
nice.
speaking, metaphorically
Yeah,
speaking.
yeah, yeah. It'd be a nice celebration to get together in person. Ron and I have yet to meet in person. We talk on the phone a lot. We've zoomed, uh, things like that. But we have yet to ever be in the same space, mainly because throughout this process, a large part of it is I've been on the convention circuit, right? And he's
Mhm,
been doing some
mhm.
appearances. He's been doing some other projects for himself and things like that. Um, I'll now be off the road until February, but of course we've got the holidays in there. But I suspect as the book comes out and things like that, you'll see us doing some sort of appearances together at some point.
Nice, nice, awesome. Yeah. And one of the other things I appreciate as a film fan, as a comics fan, is you're taking this work that's been gone for some time
Mhm.
and you are now putting it into the perpetual world of availability again, which is a very nice thing. It's a sort of what's the word I'm looking for? Archaeological thing, even.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I look at it kind of like shepherding this property back to life. I've used the word resurrecting it, because it's very
Hmm.
spooky,
Hmm.
But you're absolutely right. This is in a way very archaeological, um, which is fascinating for a kid that grew up loving dinosaurs and stuff, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
But no, that's it. I mean, real talk. A secret fantasy of mine has been for probably since I first saw this image. You know, is that someday I would be at a horror show and find some like box of stuff that someone had and like look through it and like find the real, right? And if
Hmm.
not me, someone would find the real. And there's still people out there I talk to this day, like, someone's got to have a copy of the film. Well, keep in mind, it was film. And it was film from 1927.
Yeah.
And, like I think it was Turner Movie Classics did like took stills they had and tried to like piece it back together and no pun intended, Frankenstein it back together a little bit,
Hmm. Hmm.
the best they could. But I think we kind of had to get to the point where it's like, if we want this story to exist, and we want this story to exist for an audience to see it, and like you said, in perpetuity once more, and make it in a form that will be available to exist everywhere forever, graphic novel.
Hmm. Hmm.
So we took Ron Chaney took the original screenplay. He kind of remastered that and adapted it to go from silent to talkie. And then we took that, we adapted it to a graphic novel, which is now being published by SourcePoint Press. People can go to the Kickstarter, get the a Kickstarter exclusive leather bound hardcover edition of the book too, which I'm exceptionally excited about. I want to offer the people that support the book on Kickstarter a limited edition version of this book that will only be available through this campaign. Eventually you will see the trade paperback edition in stores. But to your point, and honestly, in full disclosure, I've been on your show before, and people that know me know, I like to do something extra to pay it forward to the people who support the production of the project,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
So we're making a Kickstarter exclusive leatherbound hardcover. As it stands right now, it'll come with a triple signed bookplate by me, illustrator Joshua Ross, Ron Chaney himself. Uh, Joshua Ross is going to be doing an original sketch remark on all the book plates. We're getting ready to unlock an inset blue ribbon bookmark in the book, and then hopefully before the campaign ends, we'll at least get to like do blue gilded pages on the book to match the logo. So
Oh, awesome. Awesome.
yeah, and then down the road we'll release the trade paperback edition and through the normal distribution channels.
Yeah, I love that and love that you think about folks that contribute in that way because that's it's part of the process of getting work out there and to
Mhm.
kind of put something together exclusive and very refined in that way is a nice touch.
I appreciate it. Well, it's very important to me, the one, to pay it forward to the people who are making this possible. But two, as a book collector, and as you see, I'm surrounded in a room with a lot of books and things like that. It's cool to have like that fancy edition of the book, right? That
Hmm.
leather bound
Hmm.
hardcover, and as a book lover, what the first thing you do, you get a book, it's like you feel it, you smell it, right?
Right, right.
With that, which is why we offer things like the double feature. Like you can get the hardcover and then the trade paperback as well, because some people like to just keep the deluxe edition of the book as an artifact.
Yeah.
And I respect that too. Then you have a reader copy or a loaner copy, right? So, but I appreciate it. That's very important to me to pay it forward, but also just offer this book in as prestigious a format as possible to the people that make it possible as a celebration, as a thank you, as a pay it forward.
Yeah, yeah. Now, as somebody steeped in horror storytelling and this genre, here's the genre question portion. Uh, I'm curious about how the history I mean, a historical figure like Lon Chaney, how that has informed your creating. We mentioned you held up the promo photos, so I'm curious about
Mhm.
how some of those notes have made their way into your work and into your thinking and mindset about the genre.
London After Midnight, like I said, was made in 1927
Mhm.
with Lon Chaney, Todd Browning, who went on to do a film people may know of, Dracula for Universal Studios.
I've heard of that
You know,
somewhere. Yeah, yeah,
he
yeah.
did London After Midnight. He went on to go do Dracula, right, and then did Freaks, and then um, but London After Midnight is a 1927 horror film. That's very different than the horror films of 2024. I mean, make a list, whether you go like The Substance or Terrifier 3 or anything in between,
Hmm.
right? So one of the things I wanted to do was really respect note for note the fact that this is a late 1920s horror film. And one of the things I think people will realize when they read it, and make no mistake, I want people to read it and appreciate it as a graphic novel,
Hmm.
but also that how much this was a movie, was a vehicle for Lon Chaney's amazing makeup work and costume work and things like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
So that presented a really unique challenge. And I know now we're moving from genre to medium a little bit, but I'll try to bring it back around. Is that in the movie, this movie, I believe, was designed very much again to be a special effects makeup vehicle for Lon Chaney.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
mean, there's image alone right here. This is not the only way he appears in the film in the story. That's what spoiler you're gonna get. But then to take that and then to transfer that to the comic page and make it work in a way that respects the medium of comic books, but then also maintaining, like you said, that genre feel of this is a 1927 horror film with one of the most classic, iconic monsters in all of cinema.
Hmm.
Um, it really presented a really unique opportunity. And I will say at times challenge, because whenever you take a film and then you try to adapt it to a comic book, so many film to comic adaptations just aren't very good.
Hmm.
Or
Hmm.
they feel like they feel like a lesser than.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
given that we don't have the film to compare this to, I wanted to make sure that London After Midnight is a graphic novel. When I first talked to Ron Chaney about this, I said, I want people to see this as the definitive edition of this story. We're not going to get the film. Okay.
Yeah.
I would happy to be wrong. As a fan, I would love for someone to find a copy of the film. But if Chain Entertainment doesn't have it after all these years,
Yeah.
so I wanted to. It's funny. I was talking to Dave Lentz, our letterer on the book, just very recently, and I said when one of the scenes he was finishing lettering, I'm like, I love this scene you're lettering now because it lives so much in the genre of the 1927 film, like
Hmm.
the the 1927 mystery thriller horror piece, and London Every Midnight is largely in terms of genre kind of a murder mystery in a way,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know. So I wanted the graphic novel to be steeped in that feeling and steeped in that genre, and and just that atmosphere, which Joshua Ross and Colin Johnson, our illustrator and colorist, deserve tons of praise for that because they've really created this environment and this feel that you step into the book on page one and you're just in that 1927 mystery horror thriller genre and you feel it for the whole 140 pages of the book, 140 plus pages of the book.
Nice, nice. But as you're talking about the costuming, the design, the makeup, the effects, there's so much of that that's just foundational to the genre and to horror film. You mentioned Terrifier. The first thing I haven't seen those movies personally, but the first thing I know, like icon wise, that I think about is the image of that character, the image of the
Art the
creature, the
Clown,
monster. Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Well, yeah, iconography, especially in horror, is so important, right? When you think of, I mean, newsflash, the 80s slasher movies overall probably not seen as the high point of the pinnacle of fine cinema,
Hmm. Hmm.
but they're beloved, and I love a lot of them too because of the Jason Voorhees, the Michael
Hmm.
Myers, the Freddy Krueger, the Chucky, Ghostface, now Art the Clown, and there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of other horror movies that a lot of people could make a very strong argument for being even better representations of the genre,
Yeah, yeah.
but they don't have the iconography. I think you're exactly right. I'll just pull a random one out of the hat. The
Hmm.
Kindred, or with Kindred. Um, I love Kindred. Great horror film, and there's great special effects and a great monster and a fun story, but there's no iconography
Yeah.
behind it. And as a result, some people might argue like the old VHS box of like the creature and the baby bottle was
Hmm.
pretty cool.
Hmm.
But even like back in the day when you went to the old video stores, younger readers will wonder or younger listeners wonder what we're talking about.
Yeah,
When you go to the video store, and I think you know this, Jason, if you had to pick out a scary movie or any movie, how did you pick out a movie? Based on the cover.
based on the
Like,
cover for
oh,
sure.
this looks good, right? And that's what you did. So yeah, the catching the iconography in the comic was very crucial as well, and representing, Lon Chaney Sr. and then displaying him as different characters in a way that honors the story but doesn't give anything away, but also is not confusing to the readers. It was we had to employ some neat tricks because we can't do a reveal in the traditional way a movie can. But
Hmm.
but I'm really happy with how Joshua and I were able to work it out, and then Ron approving what we were doing.
Yeah, yeah. I have a question that takes us back to the beginning, and then we'll talk a little bit about where people can find and support the work. So I'm just curious, as we're talking about this iconography and this history, what was it
Mhm.
like to reach out to Family Chaney, to Ron Chaney, and say, I'm interested in doing this project? Was that intimidating?
Yeah, funny story how this came together. George Villakis from Magic Ninja Entertainment, who manages Twisted, among other bands.
Hmm.
I worked on two graphic novels and a couple of other assorted projects with Twisted, including Haunted Highons, the comic series I wrote with Twisted. And he says to me one day, if I'm not mistaken, I was like at a Christmas party, but he goes, "Hey, would you be interested in working with Chaney Entertainment?" Like, yes. He goes, "Yeah," because he goes, Ron, who he knew
Hmm.
from some stuff they were doing together, he goes, he has a bunch of original screenplays and stuff that he would maybe be interested in making into graphic novels. So when Ron and I started talking, we originally started talking about adapting one of his original screenplays. And then the conversation came up and he goes, well, yeah, we also have stories like London After Midnight, for example. And it was like the needle dragging off the record, right? I was
Hmm.
like,
Hmm.
wait, what? We can do London After Midnight? And I said, it's not that I don't think we should adapt some of your original work
Yeah,
because I think that'd be really cool. But what a way to start.
yeah.
And I don't get overly I'll be transparent. I don't get intimidated very often at this point. I
Hmm.
think February would be my 22nd year as a published writer. I've published over 20 graphic novels. I mean, this is what I do. This is the world I live in, and I enjoy it. And I take it very seriously, but I don't get intimidated often. But when I got that paper screenplay in my hand
Hmm. Hmm.
for London After Midnight, literally my hands shook. And I was like, okay, Dirk, don't screw this up. I didn't know Ron very well at that point. And at any moment, he could have said, yeah, you're not the one for this. You're not the
Yeah.
one to adapt this legendary screenplay into a graphic novel. And then those points when you do have to make little changes to things as you go, not changing the story, not changing the content, but changing how we're delivering the story to match a comic book medium
Hmm.
versus a film medium. And we got done and he approved the last chapter, is how we broke it into six chapters, the screenplay into six chapters for the book. And when he approved it, it was just like, like I just like melted into my like, oh my gosh, because I know Joshua Ross can carry the art just fine. He's amazing. I've worked with Josh most of my career. He's great. Colin Johnson, the colors is great. And that'd be fine. But to me, getting the final sign off and taking the film and him getting the final sign off on the adaptation was that was pretty amazing. At that point, I was like, okay, this is happening,
Yeah,
right? And then we get
yeah.
funded on Kickstarter at LondonEveryMidnightComic.com. Awesome. Now it's officially happening, and now we're
Mhm.
getting the more deluxe edition of the book, and that's happening. So it's pretty cool. I self-identify as someone that does creator-owned comics because that's been the bulk of my work.
Mhm.
But again, I've worked with Twisted, I've worked with the Harp Twins, Arn Anderson, Tony Schiavone, and now the Chaney estate. But this was exceptionally special,
Yeah,
exceptionally special to be able to shepherd in this work was it was intimidating. It was intimidating, but I'm glad we're there and I'm glad we're doing it, and I'm really excited. I'm really excited for people to see the final product.
yeah, yeah. Now it is currently kickstarting through December 2nd. Is that right?
Yes, we end on Cyber Monday.
Yes.
So people can go online, do their cyber shopping on Cyber Monday, also treat themselves to the limited edition leather-bound hardcover edition of the book, only available at londonaftermidnightcomic.com. Close out their Cyber Monday shopping, treat themselves to something amazing, be part of history, and perhaps unlock a few more stretch goals as we go.
Yeah, yeah. And support the archaeology and the iconography and the continued storytelling. So lovely that you resurrected this and that Ron Chaney is involved with it. And I'm just picturing you as sort of like the person throwing down the lever and the lightning is coming in and the creature gets to come to life now. So I'm mixing all of my references at this
All
point.
the all the horror ever, yeah. That well, that's I mean, the man in the beaver hat is a vampire, right? So
Yeah,
we're like
yeah,
opening the coffin and he gets to come back out and spring back to life. It's 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 cool. Yeah, it's like it's funny. It's like I'm not a despite, I have some various Funkos and things like that scattered around my office, even getting things like the figure of Burke. I
yeah.
couldn't believe how hard it was to get one of these. And part of me was like, don't you know I'm writing the book? Like Becca doesn't care, right? So I had to fight like heck to get one of these even. But yeah, but again, there's toys of this character and
Yeah.
there's t-shirts but now we're getting the story. Getting the story back. And that's to me as a book enthusiast, um, the most important thing. So yeah, I'm opening the coffin, flipping the switch, saying the mantra, however you want to envision it. But it's coming back. It's official. It's happening. London Every Midnight is coming back.
Very cool. Very cool. After we sign off, I will go on and support the project. I'm
Oh,
curious and I want to see how it's come together. And
I
it
appreciate
sounds
you.
like, yeah, of course. And it sounds like the partnership with Cheney may continue. So may that be the case. I'm hoping that this
Yeah,
collaboration leads to many more.
thank you. I appreciate that. I will say we have a second project right in the works.
Awesome. Awesome.
The uh, sequel, the unproduced sequel to The Wolfman.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. So stay tuned for that. Into 2025, we'll be moving forward with that as well.
Cool, cool. Well, awesome. And always glad to have you on here. Always glad to talk about projects. You're welcome to come back and talk about that project or anything at any point. This was our trifecta episode. This was the third outing. So many, many thanks. And we'll say that website one more time just so folks can go and check it out.
Yes, people can go, if you're watching this, take a moment to go to londonaftermidnightcomic.com. Free US shipping and all the pledge levels. We have a ridiculous Give Me Everything pledge level that gets you a digital copy, the trade paperback, the limited edition leatherbound hardcover, the t-shirt, the commemorative coin for $100. You just want the hardcover, $45. What you see is what you pay in the United States. Free US shipping. LondonAfterMidnightComic.com until Cyber Monday. Cyber Monday, 5 p.m. We cap it. No more limited edition leatherbound hardcovers after that.
Back in the coffin to cook until
That's
the
it. Back
future
in the
of it.
coffin, and only the trade paperback available from that moment forward.
That's right. That's right. Well, many, many thanks again, and may the
Thank you.
conversation continue.
Appreciate you. Thank you.